Guys, what is good? Welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel. How you guys doing? It's been a little while. It's been almost a week since I talked to you guys. Came on to a live stream since the Sassuolo match, since the post-match reaction of the Sassuolo match, which was a super quick reaction as well. So I feel like I owe you guys a little chat. And there's so much been going on actually. Obviously, international break. International break, and we all we're not big fans of it unless you're really into Nations League and all that kind of stuff. Fair play to you, but personally, I'm not really into all this kind of stuff. I know what UEFA FIFA tried with this Nations League to make it more interesting compared to friendlies, but it's more interesting than friendlies, but it's still nowhere near as interesting as club football or an international tournament. But that's how it is. That's how it is. We have to live with this crazy calendar. The players, treated like cattle. They're treated like meat. Just go out there and play however many games that we've set in the calendar, and they have to play. But well, today we have to talk. We have to talk about a few interrelated news. Of course, Don Beppe is speaking, and guys, you guys know me. I'm one of the biggest Don Beppe fans out there. Beppe Marotta. When Beppe Marotta speaks, we listen. I listen. I put everything to the side. Everything that I'm doing, whether I'm playing, FIFA, whether I'm playing football, doing something else, I put everything to the side and I listen to Don Beppe when Don Beppe speaks. And today we're going to talk about what he spoke about at this Festival dello Sport, the festival that was going on in Trento in Italy. With they got a variety of football slash sports personalities coming and doing like a talk. It's quite an interesting event that's going on, and Beppe Marotta was on the stage, being asked a lot of interrelated questions. So yeah, fair play to him. He answered a lot of questions, usually questions that he would sidestep with his uh, his way of talking, and being he's almost like a politician at times, being how he's able to sidestep it. But this time, he tackled everything head on. So fair play to him, and that's why I think Inter fans deserve. There's 10 people here today, more than expecting. I chose a very random time to do this chat. Parmeshwar in the house as well. What's up, brother? Should go after Isak. Yeah, so it's got a really nice goal for Sweden. What's up? Nah, Biggie in the house. Yeah, it's been a while. You used to be a guarantee in my live streams, but I'm guessing due to the time zone differences and stuff, it hasn't been as regular. But all love. Ahmad in the house as well. What's up, brother? Um, yeah, Parmeshwar. Basically, yeah, Beppe shutting down all the random rumors pretty much. As we're gonna get into it now. Hello to every new Newcastle fans there, yeah. Or assalamu alaikum to all the new Newcastle fans that we're gonna be seeing in and around, wearing the Sports Direct or whoever sponsors. Who even sponsors Newcastle now? It's probably not gonna be Sports Direct anymore now, is it? Adrian in the house, what's up? Saudi money, yeah, we'll touch on that in terms of Inter stuff. But you guys have known that everyone always keeps asking me on my live stream about the Saudi, the PIF, and I always said like until I see an actual confirmed, you know, links to Inter and the PIF, I'm not gonna really talk about it, because it just seems to be empty rumors to me until there's actual confirmed sources that are talking about them having talks with Inter. Everyone keeps throwing up the PIF. I mean, it'll be nice, as I keep saying, it would be amazing to get that FIFA takeover, that was there, that financial takeover thing you can do on FIFA, where you just get an influx of 100 million, 200 million, and you just out there spending FIFA money. But until there's confirmed rumors, I don't really want to talk about that kind of stuff. Beppe tried to shut down the rumors, but knowing it's Inter, the media not gonna stop doing those rumors. Yeah, that's true. That's as the Inter fans, we know how we're treated in the media. The media loves to throw things at Inter because it creates drama, it creates clickbait, creates clicks to the views and the readership for their websites and all that kind of stuff. But We have to admit, though, guys, over the last few years, a lot of the things that have been thrown at Inter, a lot of the times have turned out to be true in terms of Suning. A lot of publications were talking about Suning's troubles a lot earlier than the troubles happened, and in the end, they did end up actually happening. So sometimes the negativity is, there is some base to the negativity. He brought up a good point about not reducing wages when everyone else did. Yeah, he did. We'll get into that as well. Talking about grapevines hella wide. Yeah. You got your reaches are very wide, Mister Mystery. Conte wild enough, the Newcastle showing the money. Yeah, we know, man. Conte, the guy is he goes where he's backed, and Newcastle could be an interesting project for Antonio Conte. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. What happens with Newcastle and possibly Antonio Conte. I mean, if I was a millionaire, that's who I would go for. I was like, if I've got money to spend, go get me Antonio Conte, bring me a league title, build a team around him, and then maybe, yeah, if you're trying to go for maybe Europe, you go for someone else. But if you want to bring instant success to the team, you give Antonio Conte money, and he's as close as of a guarantee you can get to get success. So that's what I would do personally. But yeah, let's get into it. There's 15 people here now, so we can get into talking about Don Beppe's words. Let me share my screen with you guys, because he had a quite a lengthy chat, Beppe, and here I have the words translated by sempreinter.com as usual. The headline reads, he excludes any more big players being sold, and also admits that they wanted Vlahovic, which obviously you guys know makes me happy because I'm a big Vlahovic fan. So, while speaking at the Trento Sport Festival, Beppe Marotta explained that football is a sport that requires spending to gain success, and that is why they will not be selling key players after Ashraf Hakimi and Lukaku were sold. We absolutely exclude it. I want to reassure our fans, who are great fans, Inter exists and will exist in the future. I mean, those are very nice words that you want to hear from your CEO. You want to very populist words, aren't they? Like, trying to get the fans rallying. Inter exists and will exist in the future. But obviously, the key one that fans care about is that they're excluding big sales. Now, this is the one where Beppe Marotta said this last in the summer, didn't he? When we sold Hakimi, well, first of all, they admitted that they would have to sell someone, and that guy was Hakimi. Then after selling Hakimi, they said they wouldn't have to sell anyone. Then they sold Lukaku, which wasn't planned. Obviously, they thought Hakimi was enough, and then obviously Lukaku, Chelsea came in for Lukaku. Lukaku wanted to leave, and then the money was too good to turn down. 150 million for a 28-year-old. That's you take that and you run. 180 million kind of generated from the transfer market. So in theory, things seem to point to Inter being okay without selling, but still, there's a lot of newspapers and stuff are still saying that Inter might have to sell one more player next summer. But Beppe says the opposite here. And I don't. Once again, I think if the right offer comes, I think this Inter management just have their hands tied at the moment. I think if someone comes in for Lautaro, if someone comes in for one of our players, Brozovic, De Vrij, Skriniar, I think if the money is right, they will be sold. I think that's how Suning have operated in general. But I think now, because of the issues, that's how it is. So I believe Beppe when he says that, but also it's not up to him, as we've seen. If it was up to him, he wouldn't have sold Lukaku, or he tried not to sell Lukaku anyway. But it depends on the market dynamics, and it also depends on Suning, who have the final word. If Steven Zhang says, someone comes in, 60, 70 million for Skriniar, someone comes in, it's going to be hard to say no, unfortunately, and that's the reality of Inter. That's why, a lot of people are Suning out, and that's until Suning are in at Inter, that's going to be the reality for Inter and Inter fans. You have to be accepting that might happen, whether Beppe wants to keep these players or not. So we'll see how that happens. He also says competitiveness is guaranteed, and in football, whoever spends the most wins. Actually, I'm not sure that's translated correctly, because I'm pretty sure he said whoever spends in football is not guaranteed to win. So Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that one, the Italian version. I'm not sure that's been translated correctly here, because he said you can be able to compete even if you don't spend money and stuff. So I'll ignore that passage. And he is quite right. We've seen with Milan at the moment currently how they've done it without spending too much, actually cutting costs. They've been able to compete well. Atalanta the last few years, yes, they've not won any titles, but they've been a competitive team with very low budget in terms of wages and salaries. Sorry, in terms of transfers as well. When talking about the Edin Dzeko, they have admitted, we know, guys. I talked about Edin Dzeko on this channel for the last last season and the season before as well. When Conte first came in, we knew this was a real link. It was never made up. He was a real target. When you think about replacements, so I'm guessing talking about Lukaku, you prepare a list thanks to scouting, marketing opportunities that are achievable and unattainable goals. Dzeko was a priority goal since last season, as we said. Yeah, this guy was always a target for Inter as a backup to Lukaku, or even as a challenger. Thanks to the favourable circumstances, he enjoyed a promise from Roma that granted him a free transfer at the time of our offer. There was this ease, also thanks to the seriousness of Roma, who kept their promise. So yeah, in terms of that, we said, Edin Dzeko, yes, he's 35, yes, he's declined, but he's not dusted. And as we've seen now, joint top scorer in the league. Great move by Beppe and team to get the guy free transfer plus a minimal fee. I think if we get Champions League football to Roma, so that is damage control at his best, Edin Dzeko. And then also talked about how Dusan Vlahovic was their second choice as well when it came to the striker department. Vlahovic is a great talent. We found ourselves in a challenging situation in which we weren't able to finish the deal for him. He was the second target to complement the attack, a player ready now and one in the future. So it would be, Dzeko is the one ready for now, and Vlahovic is one for the future. It would have been the best. We were happy with the Dzeko operation. But obviously, yeah, as he said, they weren't able to finish because there was no money there. Rocco Commisso, Fiorentina, they wanted like 60, 70 million according to rumors, which is probably more than, it's definitely more than what Vlahovic is worth at the moment, because he's only proven one season until now. So he's definitely out of the reach. But I'm happy, and the rumors were true, I guess, in terms of Beppe confirming it. You guys know I was all in on the Vlahovic train. I said he has to be the replacement. Yes, bring in Dzeko, but if you're thinking about long-term future, the guy to be here for many years, and if you're not going to be spending money in the future, building a young project, you go for Vlahovic. You don't go for Duvan Zapata, Belotti, all these guys. You go for the guy who's going to be, the guy for strikers in Serie A for the next few years, in my opinion, anyway. So it's good that at least we're linked, and we'll see what happens with Vlahovic in the coming weeks, because obviously we know with Vlahovic, Fiorentina have admitted, Rocco Commisso has admitted that he's not signing a new contract. They have offered him a contract. He's saying no. He's still got this season and the next season left on him, so he's not going to be a free transfer at the end of this season. But personally, I don't see Vlahovic staying in Italy. I don't think anyone in Italy can afford Vlahovic at the figures that Fiorentina won, and plus the salary package that you probably want. It's going to be quite an expensive deal, unless if Juventus cancel the Marotta deal because they have an option to buy Marotta after their loan, and they say no, Marotta, we send you back, and now then they can go for Vlahovic, because then that frees up space for them. But for us, I don't really see that happening. We'll see what happens with that. Beppe did say Lukaku threw a curveball in the plans. Yeah, he talked about that. He said, they weren't expecting the Lukaku transfer. They weren't planning for that. But he also said, as a great CEO, as a great, transfer guru that he is, he says you have to always be prepared for the unexpected. And that's what they did. They quickly adapted to the situation. And Lukaku clearly at the end, wanted to leave. So they got the best deal in terms of money for going out. Lukaku and then Correa and Dzeko coming in to replace him. Dzeko has been great until now. We'll see how Correa, how that works out in terms of replacement. So yeah, we'll see how things going. But I think in terms of damage limitation, we said in theory what Beppe and Ozilio did was amazing. King Darian in the house. Early morning, Sharma. Yeah, I guess early morning for you. Over here is 2 p.m., so midday for me. I have a feeling De Vrij might leave eventually. Yeah, he's one of those guys, especially because of the Mino Raiola collection, isn't it? The De Vrij, once you pick Mino Raiola as your agent, are you really trying to stay at the club where you're at? That's where you have to question when it comes to when you pick Mino Raiola as your agent, because as far as I know, he's not really a guy that you pick if you want to stay somewhere. As we've seen with Donnarumma, Zlatan, Balotelli over the years, like Raiola is the guy that you get if you want to move somewhere, you want to get more money, you want to get your signing on fee, all that kind of good stuff. He's not the guy you go for if you want to stress free, you want to be loyal to the club. Because so I agree. I could see De Vrij eventually leave, and he is one of the ones on the expiring contracts. Do you see how many expiring players we have? Yeah, man, we've been talking about this on this channel for a while. We said at the beginning of this season, these are the guys to keep a lookout for. There's a big revolution that's going to happen in the Inter squad next year, with all the guys leaving on a free. And that's going to be probably Beppe and Ozilio's biggest job, and since they've been at Inter, in terms of renewing and refreshing the squad. So definitely interesting times ahead. If the money is right, there will be sold. Sounds like something that came out of the PIF. Yeah, that's how it is, man. That's for Inter. If the money is right, they're gone. It's the harsh reality. Conte, Darmian, Vidal, and D'Ambrosio in Newcastle confirmed. Yeah, Conte and his weird fetishes. Graziano Pelle, Gervinho. It was Giaccherini out of retirement. Sturaro. All these weird fetishes that he has, Conte. We'll see if when he has money to spend, does he have these weird fetishes, or has it always been just the lack of budget that's restricted him, or is it actually these are the actual players he wants? It'll be interesting to see. I've always wanted someone to give Conte that money and see what actually does he do with that money, like what types of player does he actually want. Yeah, we can talk about this later on. Pretty much. Yeah, he said whoever spends doesn't necessarily win. So that translation there isn't accurate. Yeah, we'll talk about the January rumors as well in a minute, because everyone always asks me the January stuff, and I don't usually want to talk about it. But we haven't got anything else to talk about in this in this international break, so we might as well talk about it in a minute. Yeah, Mancini, man, still, Barella starting, Bastoni starting. He's gonna squeeze everything out of these players, man. It's that's why we hate the international break as Inter fans. I've started on my Twitter a injury count. At the moment, there's only been Lautaro who was injured for Argentina. Fingers crossed he's going to be the only injured one, but we know, Sanchez, one of these guys is probably going to come back with some sort of injury. Vecino. Satriano, yeah. Well, it depends. I think what happens with in January. But I always said everyone was pushing for this guy to stay. But this is what happens, guys. When these guys stay, they're not going to get any playing time. So I know everyone was getting hyped in the preseason about Satriano should get minutes, all this, but this is what happens with a lot of coaches, and it's quite rightly. We saw when he came on against Genoa, he was like a nervous, excited youngster. Just that's why you need these loans. You need to send out these players on loan, get some playing minutes, get proper football under their legs, not Primavera plus preseason football where there's no crowds. These guys need real football. There's only few players out there in these guys that can come in and make an impact straight off the youth team. Messi really mentioned Inter as one of the teams having more chances to win the Champions League. I don't know what this guy is smoking. I don't know what someone put something in his mate tea, whatever those guys drink. Yeah, or I don't know if maybe he's twerking for Inter to he's always been linked with Inter, but Messi, brother, I don't know if you've seen how Inter have been doing in the Champions League last 4 years. But yeah, you need to revisit your stats. Yeah, exactly. This Nations League, there's a bloody third place for this Mickey Mouse trophy. It's so useless. I don't get it. Yeah, as Indra says, too much drinking mate. Yeah, you can't grasp reality. But to be fair, I mean, in terms of how PSG have been playing, there, if you watch the PSG play, you could say that he's right. I mean, they don't really seem to have much chemistry at the moment. No, not much, playing style. The front three don't really seem to have gelled yet. I mean, they beat Man City quite well, but in Ligue 1 and in general, they seem to be struggling at the moment. So, and Inter did play really well against Real Madrid. Shakhtar maybe not so much, but yeah, I don't really see PSG going as far. Some people saying, PSG are favourites in the Champions League. I don't really see PSG being favourites. Call me crazy, I'd rather lose De Vrij than Skriniar Bastoni. This isn't about age either. No, no, I wouldn't call you crazy. I mean, it is about age for me because he's 29, going to be 30 years old. So I'd rather you lose De Vrij for that reason anyway. And I've always said De Vrij is playing in that central of the three. That's the most protected position that we have in the whole team. Which I think Skriniar could play that position just as well as De Vrij, in my opinion. If we gave Skriniar time to adapt to that position, because he's got the ball playing ability, he's got the reading of the game. He wouldn't, yeah, he can't be as aggressive as he is in that position. You have to be more about reading the game and covering others rather than attacking the wingers and fullbacks. But I think Skriniar could play that position fine, and I think as we see when players play in the three at the back, he's much more, you cover more positions, you cover more, there's less ground to cover, there's more positional. And I think De Vrij is amazing. I'm not saying that De Vrij is not good, not that great. It's just I feel like expiring contract, one of the elder ones in that back line. you know if he's going to ask for too much money with me, you can definitely get some money for De Vrij before, instead of losing him on a free. We don't want to do what Milan have been doing and losing guys on a free. So yeah, I'd definitely rather lose, because Skriniar for me is the future captain, Bastoni for me is the future, for the Italian national team and everything. So if you put a gun to my head and ask me which one of the three I would rather sell, is De Vrij, but obviously I'd rather not sell any of the three. I want to keep that three intact forever. Just keep them in a bubble forever and freeze them, because those are just the best trio in the whole league, one of the best in Europe. Any update for that investment that wants to buy Serie A and La Liga for 30 years? Yeah, no, I haven't heard about that. That firm, that investment fund. But yeah, going back to Beppe's words, let me share my screen with you guys again. What was the other interesting part? Of course, yeah, speaking, as I said, for me, Skriniar is the future captain, but he also talked about Barella becoming possibly the future captain. He said it would be nice. Handanovic is older. The captain is a qualification that cannot be given away. You need to have the professional and human qualities to be a leader. Barella can begin to become a captain. And yeah, we talked about that. For me, Barella can definitely be captain, like at some point. And I wouldn't be angry if he's given the captaincy after Handanovic, but I feel like Skriniar is ahead of him. Even De Vrij, these elder guys who've been here for longer. And of course, it's all linked to his renewal, which is going to be offered to him soon. He said it's right to reward him economically for what he has done. It's not a renewal, it's a gratification. So nice way to putting it. He is right to adapt to an important group of players. Yeah, the translation here is a little bit too literal by what he meant was is right to give him the salary that players in his category. So now he's a Ballon d'Or nominee now, guys. Let's put some respect on Barella's name. Made the 30-man shortlist with Lautaro, with Handanovic made the goalkeepers. I don't know how Handanovic made the goalkeeper shortlist, the 10 goalkeeper shortlist, but fair play to the guy. Fair play. His name still clearly carries some sort of weight. Getting it straight off his reputation, I guess. But fair play to him. But yeah, Barella, he needs to be in that bracket of 5 million and above type earning. Those types of players. Hakan in our team is earning 5 million. Barella has to be earning 5 million. Brozovic as well will be earning at least that. The likes of Kessi's going to move up to that field. Rabiot, Ramsey, those Juventus midfielders, if they're earning that much, Barella has to be in that category. So it made sense. I agree with Beppe Marotta there, and hope that signing is done soon. And he also spoke on the Lautaro one, which we'll cover in a minute. And then he also spoke about January. He said in January they could be prepared to make a signing or two. Again, as I'm saying I'm not really certain on this. He said it as he phrased it as in gifts for Inzaghi. If needed, we are ready to move in January to bring in one or two gifts. We want to support Inzaghi in the run-up without ever losing sight of the budgetary needs. We cannot spend, but we can use our imagination. Basically, this is what we do. This is what we do on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. We use our imagination. So that's why I'm kind of doubtful on these. And people always keep asking me, like, oh, who do you think we can bring in January? But we don't have the money, guys. Whoever we bring in is going to have to be like a free loan or like a loan with an option. And January is not particularly the ideal time for that, because usually teams don't want to let go of guys on the loans or things like that. So it becomes difficult. But the rumors at the moment that are linking us are Luka Jovic up front. I think up front it depends really on the Alexis Sanchez now. As you guys know, Sanchez made that Instagram story where he was, comparing himself to a Lamborghini in the desert with sand on it, being wasted. I mean, the sheer audacity of the guy, the sheer audacity of Alexis, still technically the best player in Inter. When you talk about technique, ability, Alexis is still the best player in this Inter team. But the guy is injured almost as much as Stefano Sensi. I always used to say, even last season, remember when the Dzeko Sanchez rumors were happening, I was saying, Sanchez great, provides great impact off the bench, still great technically, but physically, this guy is very unreliable, and he showed that until he got better after that January window. But this guy, every time he goes on a international break, comes back injured after the back live. Can you hear me, guys? Let me know in the comments quickly if you can hear me. I don't know what happened there. I think once again my internet cut out. I don't know what's happening with my internet recently. I need to talk with my Virgin Media. Yes, we are here. We're live. Okay, thank you. Apologies for that. But yeah, Sanchez, man, the guy is earning 7 million net to sit on the bench most of the time and being injured most of the time. And according to reports, we have a unilateral clause in Sanchez's contract which allows us to cancel the contract. But that's in August, or like at the end of the season, not midway through the season. So if we do cancel his contract now, if we release him now, we have to pay him, a considerable amount to leave the club. So we'll have to pay him around, from what I read, 4.5 million or something like that to end the contract. So it probably still makes sense financially because he earns 7 million net. So 7 million net this season and the next season. So it probably still makes sense to, on a financial basis. But then who do you replace him with? And that's where the rumors are coming in now. Like, who do you guys would you replace? Would you replace Sanchez with a Sanchez type player, like a second striker / creative player, or would you replace Sanchez with a striker? Because I think that's the question. Because if you're going for Luka Jovic, it seems like you're replacing him, Inter looking for a striker. There's also the Belotti rumors that once again he's similarly to Vlahovic, he's not going to sign a contract, but his contract is expiring at the end of this season, so he is. You could get him in January if you wanted. Um, Sad to see Alexis from going from falling in love with football again to being childish. Yeah, it was annoying because the fact that he's come back from injury, he's only come back from injury like a few weeks ago, so he's only really been fit for a few weeks. Um, so having that kind of, but then Beppe Marotta also spoke on that. He said you should see that as kind of like a attachment to the club, or you should see that as a positive thing in terms of he wants to play really badly, which is true. That's Alexis. He's always been like that. He always wants to play. He always wants to be the main guy. He wants to be center of attention. But at the same time, you should realize that he's behind in the hierarchy. He's behind Dzeko. Lautaro is the starting two. Correa is our latest big money signing. So obviously he's going to be number 3 right now. So Alexis right now is number 4 in the list. So he needs to realize that. And then obviously we got Satriano behind there. But he just needs to realize where he is at this point in his career. He's 32 years old. He's unreliable physically. He doesn't offer the goal threat anymore, as we saw in the last couple of seasons. He still offers lots of assisting, goal creation in terms of assisting and shot creation, but he hardly ever, scores or shoots these days. He's become, he's not really a danger anymore. He's lost that explosiveness. He still offers dribbling, but he can't go past people. He'll do like a little sidestep. You can get a half a yard to get a pass through or a shot through, but he hasn't got that pace. He hasn't got that physicality anymore. He's just not the same Alexis. He's still a great player to have off the bench, and if he still sorts himself out mentally, like how his buddy Vidal has realized he's not the starting 3. He's not in the starting trio of midfielders at the moment. Hakan is ahead of him. Even, Vecino started ahead of him because of injuries and stuff. So he realizes, when he comes on as a substitute, he comes on with that hunger, that mentality. He's biting at players' legs. He's putting in tackles, trying to be, an impact substitute, which is what he is at the moment, until he becomes, if he can become a starter again, which he can the way he's performing. So yeah, you rather Dzeko type player instead of Sanchez. Oh, so you want a striker, then you want a guy to be challenging Dzeko for his position. You guys already have 2 second strikers, no? Yeah, I guess you could say in terms of, I think Lautaro in the 2, you could say he's kind of a second striker, but he's a striker, man. He's a proper striker. When he plays for Argentina, he plays in the lone striker role, up front. I think he's a striker but he performs better when there's a striker like a Dzeko or Lukaku next to him. And then Correa is definitely a second striker, I would say. So yeah, probably you could say that there's probably more of a need for a proper striker like a Belotti, like maybe a Jovic, you could say, rather than a creator. We need a mobile forward. All players will link target man. Yeah, we've talked about how now we lack really that counter-attacking threat now, don't we? There's no one that runs in behind to the space. Dzeko's not going to really do that because he doesn't really have the legs. I mean, the one time he did it against Sassuolo, he won the penalty. But it's just hard to find that combination. That's why Lukaku, Duvan Zapata, these guys are very unique profiles that you can't seem to find. A combination of physicality, athleticism, link-up play, technique, finishing. It's the complete package. It's hard to find that, and that's why I like Vlahovic as well, because he is a bit of a combination of all those things. He's physical, he's quick for his size. He'll fight you, but he'll also give good finishing, good link-up play, everything. But I think we're going, once again, it's not really what's about. It's more about what's available on the market and what really Inter want. And what's available on the market is these types of guys who are on the way or they don't play for their club, like Luka Jovic. So he's a outcast from Real Madrid. Belotti, who's not signing a contract from his for his club, and he's probably going to leave. So available on a cheap or on a free transfer. Um, so that's what the market is giving you. It's not really what Inter wants, what Inter needs. What Inter needs is, in my opinion, is the type of, the Vlahovic, the Duvan Zapata, that type of player that gives you that counter-attacking ability, getting in behind defenses, but also that hold-up play, that complete play. But you just have to go for what's available, what the market gives you for the budget that we have as well. That's the most important thing at the moment. The budget that we have is very limited. I wouldn't mind a different profile to Alexis. At the same time, the technical ability is important. Yeah, technical ability is always, for me, is always most important. But it's going to be hard to find someone in our budget that at that level of Alexis in terms of technical ability. So you have to find. That's why I was in favor of Belotti coming in instead of Correa as well. But Inzaghi apparently requested Correa. He wanted Correa. He was the one guy he was twerking for, like how Conte was twerking for Vidal. He was twerking for Lukaku. You have to give your coach what he wants, and if he wants. Now he wants someone else that's more of a target man, then let's give him that. You think we're going to regret paying 30 million for Correa? He's probably going to be our third choice. I don't see him benching Dzeko since the partnership with Lautaro is not working so far. I mean, how many times has he played with with Correa, man? Like this, you guys, like we have to give these guys some time. He's started 2 matches with Lautaro. The first match he started was the Bologna one, where he was substituted after 20-30 minutes, and then the Sassuolo one definitely didn't work out. But then the same with the Lautaro and Dzeko, the Hellas Verona match. The partnership wasn't really there. In general, the partnership hasn't really been there between Dzeko and Lautaro yet. There hasn't been really much of a link-up play, but they've definitely shown that they're the starting 2 strikers for the moment. But yeah, Correa was a big gamble when we signed him, and I said at the time, like, I like Correa personally as a player, but that's just because I like these players, that have a little bit of dribbling and a bit of creativity to them. But I know this guy is super inconsistent. He'll give you some dribbles, some nice touches here and there, but does he give you goals and assists? And this is the issue with the Correa. And we saw, I posted on Twitter his highlights against Paraguay. Correa, he played in the lone striker role, which is not his role for Argentina in a 4-2-3-1, and his movement was good, but his finishing was awful. He had 3 or 4 chances 1v1 against the goalkeeper, and he didn't take any of them. Some of them were great saves and a bit of some miracles, but still you have to take one of those chances at least. So Correa has to step up, and we just have to hope and pray that what Inzaghi sees in Correa is going to come through, that potential that Inzaghi sees, and that Correa himself works hard on what the things that he needs to improve, And we actually haven't seen the things that Correa is actually good at yet, in terms of he's the one who's supposed to be linking up, coming deeper. When he plays with Lautaro or Dzeko, he's the one who's supposed to come deeper, link with the midfield, beat players, create chances, create assists. We haven't seen that actually from him. We've only seen the part that actually he's not supposed to be that good at, the goals, the Hellas Verona match where he came on and scored those 2 goals and be decisive to the win. That's actually not what Correa is good at. Correa is supposed to be the guy, like Alexis, he's supposed to be that guy in behind the main striker. And he actually hasn't shown that to me yet. Even in the Shakhtar match, he had that one shot that, was amazing, almost went in, but that was his only moment as well. So I'm expecting a lot more from Correa still. But yeah, he's a big gamble that we've taken with 30 million. Yeah, Ricardo, I rather revise Dzeko. I agree. I think Correa covers that Alexis kind of, role. So, and then Lautaro also is kind of that second striker. So if you have another Dzeko type striker, then you can have a good 4 guys that, can provide more of a goal threat. And if that's what Inzaghi wants as well, we should give Inzaghi what he wants. I'm always in favor of trying to give the coach what he wants and what he feels the team needs. Yeah, Jovic, I've always said, I think Jovic for me is more a Lautaro type player. Like, he's the similar stature, similar build, short, stocky guy, quite good at holding up the ball for his size, good finisher. But he's had the guy, with Jovic, it's an experiment. It's a gamble you're doing. Obviously, because it's a loan. If you get him on a loan, there's not too much of a big gamble. But you're trying to revive a player who's been 2 seasons now, really, that he hasn't shown anything. Jovic, not for Serbia, not for Real Madrid. Even when he went to Eintracht, back on loan to Eintracht, I think he scored like 2 goals, 3 goals. Like, you're literally trying to revive a career here with Jovic. So it's a gamble that I personally would be willing to take with Jovic. I feel like he has that potential to be a good striker, especially if you give him, like, how Milan have Brahim Diaz on a 2-year loan from Real Madrid, because he's just surplus to requirements, Real Madrid. So 2-year loan with the option to buy, which they're probably not even going to take. If you can get Jovic on a thing like that, then you can, because if you have him on a loan, 2-year loan, you actually have scope to have time to develop him. It's not like just 6 months and it's like then he goes back. At least you have incentive to play him and actually try to improve the guy, rather than have him on your team and he just goes straight back, and then you've improved the player for Real Madrid. You've become a Real Madrid academy. So yeah, Jovic is definitely one I would go for, but I see him more in the Lautaro mode, and I feel like he would be too similar to Lautaro if you play him and Lautaro together. So I'd rather go for someone more in the Belotti mode, like a proper striker. I see Jovic as more of in the Lautaro second striker mode. Papu Gomez, Luis Suarez is a free agent next summer. Oh, I mean, yeah, not sure about that. Suarez, he's still offering those goals, but the amount of salary, yeah. And Papu Gomez, no, we've seen Sevilla now. He was on his downward spiral anyway, in terms of his downward trajectory in his career. He's 33, 34 now. We have to move into a different strategy now as well. I think we have to go back to the original strategy before Conte, where this, Marotta and Ozile were going for young Italian players like, Sensi, like Barella. That was the actually original idea. And then Conte came in and he was like, forget Tonali, give me Correa, give me Vidal. We want instant victory now. I think now we're gonna go away from these high wages, older players. I think we're gonna slightly deviate from these strategies. I really feel if this Alexis issue is sorted in Beppe's words, something can be salvaged in January. I'd rather aim for a backup centre back on loan. Yeah, I mean, we know the centre back position is definitely a weakness. The dropout from Skriniar, De Vrij, and Bastoni is massive, and you've seen that Inzaghi is really not willing to even play. We've seen even, at least with Conte, we saw at least sometimes used to put D'Ambrosio in, Kolarov in, but with Inzaghi, a guy who's actually, you can see he's quite willing to rotate in the team, but with the back line, this guy is like, I do not trust any of the guys, and he's having to play pretty much the back three every single time. So, but who are you gonna get? Who really is there available that's gonna be an upgrade on D'Ambrosio or Ranocchia in January? So it's a difficult one. Yeah, Massimo says Belotti. I think he's not my favorite player in the world, but if he's available on the terms that he could be, if you offer a minimal fee in January to get a game of Torino's books, or even on a free transfer next year, that's an amazing possible deal. So you have to, when the market gives you those kind of opportunities, you have to grab them with both hands. Is Jovic washed? Or the Real move just didn't work? Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest, King Darian. That's the thing. I think that's what we have to analyze and see with Jovic. Was he like a one season wonder? Well, I don't think he is personally. I think the bases are there with Jovic. He's decent on, like, technically he's decent. He's not amazing. He's good physically. Like, he's very well built for his physique. For his size, he's got a good shot inside, outside the box. He's got good, seems like he's got good finishing instincts, good link-up play when he used to play with Sebastian Haller. It's just about, and he's only 23, 24, so he's not, can't be say he's washed, because he's 23, 24, so he's definitely got time on his side. But he has to be, is Inzaghi willing to take that kind of experiment to revive someone's career? And especially in January, I think in January it's a fixing market. It's not a, long term, market. You have to bring in January. You should be bringing in players that make an instant impact, that you can, remember Rafinha a few years ago when Inter brought him in. Okay, it wasn't instant because he was injured at the beginning, but a few weeks in and he became a starter for Inter. Those types of impacts that can take you to the title, and that's what Marotta said. We're going for the second star mission, second star. In January, we're going to be looking to improve the team. So I don't know if bringing in Jovic is really an improvement in January. I think that's a move that we could make in the summer, or if you can get him on that 2-year loan, as I said, then it makes sense. But 6-month loan, I'd rather go for someone like a Belotti, proven, Serie A proven, instant impact, ready to come in, do bits straight away. Correa will come good. Yeah, I believe in Correa as well. Like, I believe in Inzaghi and Correa to make this, to make it happen. Any news on Onana? Yeah, I mean, we're pretty well. That's the last news we heard. That it was pretty much confirmed from Fabrizio Romano, saying 99% done. And actually, I'm getting an Ajax expert coming on the channel soon to talk about Onana with us. So he'll talk about what we can expect, what type of character is he, and explain to us the ban as well. So he's an Ajax fan. He's coming on. He's a podcaster that does Ajax podcast, so he'll be coming on the channel soon to explain to us the Onana stuff. Becomes, what's up, brother? Happen to know a certain Dutch outcast in England we can go for. Yeah. Van der Beek. I mean, I've never seen the Inter fan base push for a player so much on Twitter. Like, it seems like a cult almost with this Van der Beek guy. Yeah, I mean, he's another one that he's a good player, very good player, but he hasn't adapted to the Premier League, and now you want him to come to a completely different league and try to make an impact straight away. To me, that's not really an impact January buy. To me, that's someone you bring in August and try to give him time to integrate within the team slowly. He's not a guy that, because then you're setting him up to fail again. You're giving him 6 months to come to Italy, and you're like, go on, make an impact now. Show us the Ajax Van der Beek, and that's not an ideal situation for Van der Beek to thrive in either. But he obviously would be a useful player to bring in on loan, of course, once again, because that's the only thing we can do at the moment. Chiesa would shoot. I mean, I guess I don't know where. I think you're just voicing your disappointment here about the Chiesa hype. Completely off topic there, Gerald. We can cover that in some maybe in the future. What kind of striker Jovic is? Icardi type, would like to play. Yeah, I think to me, from what I've seen, I've only watched him mainly at Eintracht because we haven't really got to see him at Real Madrid. But he's a guy who plays off. He played off Hala, so really that's why I compare him to Lautaro. He's one that shoots a lot. Like, he's one that's trigger happy. He's willing to take on players. He's not just a poacher. He likes to roam around. So I wouldn't say he's an Icardi type striker, in my opinion, anyway. We only have ourselves to blame if Brozovic joins Black and Reds. Yeah, we'll see about that, man. Because if Brozovic joins Milan, he would become their highest paid player after Zlatan. Because obviously, he's not going to go to Milan for a slight increase from the Inter salary. It would be around the 5 million mark, which is why he's asking for 5-6 million. And they're just about offering that to Kessie. Kessie wants more than that. So I don't really see Milan being able to offer that. So then he's going to be paid triple what Benacer is, triple what Tonali is, quadruple what Krunic is. So he's going to mess up the budget, the wage budget in Milan. So I don't really see that. I think it's more like one of those ones that Milan probably are sniffing around. Like, you would be mad not to sniff around, like as Inter would be sniffing around Kessie. Is one of those things that as I said, when a market opportunity is available, you'd be stupid not to go out and try it. Like, the Donnarumma stuff. When Donnarumma is out there, but obviously we just couldn't afford those wages. But I'm pretty sure there were confirmations that Beppe did try to go for Donnarumma. there's always rumors for Itzo, man. This guy is like constantly linked with us. He's just like perennially linked with us. Even before Conte came to Inter, Itzo was always a link. But once again, this guy just barely plays for Torino. Is he really that much of an upgrade over D'Ambrosio right now that we need to bring Itzo in January? So I don't think so. I don't think he's that guy that's gonna be like Inzaghi's gonna be like, yes, okay, this is the guy that's gonna I'm confident resting Skriniar with or Bastoni with. I think again, it's okay if they feel that's the guy, but I don't really think that's the ideal person to me, in my opinion. Can we bring back Pirola or Zinho from loan? Yeah, we can bring those guys back. Zinho, once again, he's injured for Genoa. He played the first few matches, I think, and then he's had an injury. I don't think it's too serious, but yeah, that's the issue with Zinho. He seems quite an injury-prone player, unfortunately. And Pirola hasn't even got minutes in Serie B this season. He's struggled to get minutes. So I know everyone. We always want these guys to be, the future of Inter. But once again, must be a reason why Pirola's not getting too many minutes at the moment in Serie B for Monza. But yeah, if we're desperate, but it's not numerically. It's not like we're numerically desperate for centre backs. It's qualitatively, numerically, the whole team is fine. We're fine in midfield in numbers wise. We've got 6, 7 centre midfielders, if you want to count Sensi in that. At the back, we've got 6 centre backs plus Di Marco, who's been playing, there as well. Strikers, we've got 5 strikers, so numerically we're fine. It's more about the quality, and are Pirola and Zinho really gonna make Inzaghi think twice about not starting Bastoni and Skriniar the right? I don't think so at the moment. Bastoni is playing well for Italy. Amazing how one highlight is causing him to be targeted by most of Italy. I don't really see. I don't know what I don't know what your Twitter timeline seems to be very toxic, Gerald. I mean, he was at fault for that goal that Spain scored, but Bonucci was just as much as fault for letting that cross in. And yeah, he has. We've talked about Bastoni. He has been. I wouldn't say he's been poor form because Bastoni, his standard is so high now. That's what happens when you're a Scudetto winner, best defense in Italy. Your standard is here now. So once your standard drops even a little bit, you can notice, and this is what happens with Bastoni this year. Skriniar's standard has been maybe even higher than last year. De Vrij, we saw he had a bit of a drop off against Sassuolo, he had a stinker. So the Skriniar, but Bastoni in general, he's been substituted a few times for Di Marco. He hasn't looked at the same level, but he hasn't been poor in my opinion. But he's 22 years old. You have to expect these dips in form. Like, I'm actually surprised that Bastoni hasn't had more dips in form and more ups and downs, especially for centre back. Centre back is a role that you mature much later on, 25, 26, 27, 28. That's really when you become a good centre back after you gain that experience. So Bastoni really has, should be expected, these kind of things, but you just have to hope that he doesn't get cocky or overconfident. He's got a new contract, he's earning good money now. He doesn't get comfortable. He's that certain starter because there's no real position. There's no other left centre back. Kolarov is not challenging him for the spot. Di Marco, maybe here and there is a substitute, but he's got his spot is certain. So he needs to make sure he maintains that level, that hunger to a high degree. And I'm confident in Bastoni returning to good levels. It just happens with these young players at times. Pirola could come back. Also, apparently, David Neres of Ajax would only be 25 million. Only 25 million is out of our budget, mate. Only 25 is too much for us. And David Neres, isn't he a winger? So he doesn't fit into our team anyway. Nandes is a must now. Yeah, Nandes is an interesting one because Nandes is probably because of his adaptability, Nandes. And because he wanted out of Cagliari so badly, and Cagliari is stinking now Serie A at the moment, bottom of the league. And Nandes must be fuming now. It's like, oh, this is why I want to leave you guys. So I feel sorry for him. And apparently, the Nandes' agent has also said that the Cagliari president has now said that he will accept lower offers for him if someone comes in. There's rumors of Napoli being interested, so we have to watch out for competition there. Because he is still a quality player, Nandes. But once again, I don't think he's going to displace anyone in the team, Nandes. He's not going to displace Barella. I see him as the Barella backup, the perfect Barella backup, to be honest. He's not going to displace Brozovic or Hakan as well, because I see him thriving on that right hand side, really. Um, but he can play the right wing back position. He can play centre mid. He can play a variety of position. And if he is available on a loan with an option to buy from Cagliari, I think he could be once again the hot name for the January window. And I wouldn't be against it. Once again, I think he is going to be a good fit into this team. I think with the hunger that he's going to come in with after, Cagliari leaving him out and not, giving him the move that he wants. I think he is a player that deserves a team like Inter as a squad player. And I think he would be one that can provide that instant impact into this team. Yeah, we talked about Satriano. If you rewind back, Gerald, I said, this guy, I always said he needs to go on loan. Everyone got a little bit too overexcited, I think, from the preseason friendlies. These guys always need some minutes, like the likes of Esposito, Mulattieri, Pina are getting right now. Quite like Hala. Yeah, he was my guy as well. When Conte was there, I feel like he would have been a good possible Lukaku, replacement in terms of, like backup. Obviously, he was a bit expensive, West Ham bought him for like, 30, 35 million. That was a bit too much. If Milan take Brozo, Beppe will go guns blazing for Kessie, best believer. Yeah, probably will. But again, if Kessie's asking for that 7-8 million, he won't. Because that's out of our budget now. We have a budget as well. Like Milan, we won't be extending contracts for crazy numbers. So we probably will try for Kessie, but we won't be outbidding Milan, in my opinion. I don't think we'll be offering anything more than Milan. If Kessie comes, he would be choosing the project over Inter. A little bit of Hakan, like we did outbid Milan in the Hakan wages. I think we only offered him like 500k more net wage than he would have been earning at Milan under the contract they offered him. But he chose the Inter project more than actual money, I would say. So that would be the case for Kessie. But I see Kessie probably going to Premier League or PSG for the money he is asking at the moment. You think PIF is still on to? Oh man, you guys in this PIF. It seems like apparently they want one more club. They want to create like a network of clubs around Europe. They're interested in Marseille, apparently, PIF as their next club. Inter apparently on the list as well. I'm not going to talk about it until there's actual proper sources confirming talks with PIF guys, because it all depends on Suning and it all depends on PIF actually sitting down with Suning to negotiate something. So we'll see. Heard rumors of Castagne on loan from Leicester City. Yeah, he had an amazing start last season, Castagne, here in Leicester. Everyone loved him, but then he had some injuries and stuff. Atalanta, at the Atalanta tax. So, yeah, we'll see. That wouldn't be bad. But, I think right wing back, we're okay. We have to give Dumfries time. We can't bring someone else now. We have to give Dumfries time, and we obviously got Matty Dams there. I don't think the right wing back position is a pressing concern right now. Jovic or Lacazette in January, which one is better? Well, I think Lacazette would be the instant impact because he's actually playing well or decent level for a while. He's not like Jovic who you have to revive from the dead. But in January, I don't think Arsenal will let Lacazette go in January. So I think financially, probably Jovic makes more sense. But again, as I said, is more about who actually could make an impact. I don't think Jovic can make that impact straight away. Yeah, Nick, as you said, quality over quantity. Numerically, we're fine. We need quality over quantity. There's no need to just bring in players just because, just for numbers. Bastoni looks easily tired this season. Bastoni missed Pintus a lot. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it's more his demeanor. Like we've seen physically, Inter have been doing fine. Where are we? We're third in terms of kilometers covered. I'm sure like physically the physical trainer seems to be doing really well with Inter. And Bastoni's been substituted a lot, so he's probably actually one of the more fresher ones in the team. So I'm not too worried about in terms of that. I think it's more his body language that I'm worried about. He's looking a little bit relaxed, a little bit, overconfident to me. Yeah, Beppe said in the coming week, this week, they will be talking with Brozovic on his extension. And he is confident. He said he's confident about extending it. Brozovic, Unlike his agent or his team is represented by his dad. Oh, it's like he's actually his family is doing the representation for him. So that shows you that he's not looking to leave. He's comfortable in Milan. He's not asking for too much money from what I'm hearing. 5, 6 million is probably what he deserves as well. So it's nothing too crazy what he's asking, and he deserves it. So I think I'm confident that the Brozovic deal will be done. Um, Sensi, yeah, I mean that is so funny. I don't know if you guys have heard. Sensi invested in a startup that helps prevent injuries. I mean, you can't make it up. It's like the guy is trying to save the future Sensis. He's already given up on himself, or maybe he's using is the startup on himself. But fair play in terms of starting his entrepreneurship and everything. Maybe he's already planning to retire. And honestly, I'm not even saying this as a joke. I wouldn't be surprised if Sensi retires early, like doing like a wheelchair type trajectory where clubs don't even touch him because they're so scared of his injury history, and he just has to retire or something. When if Oak Tree will take over? Oak Tree can take over whenever Suning miss out on one payment on the loan. That's when Oak Tree can take over. Then as soon as Suning default on the loan payment, Oak Tree can take over. How cheap they will be? Probably quite. They're an investment fund, so they won't be spending big for sure. They will be kind of like what happened to Milan. Hope Interspac buy us. Yeah, I'm not really sure on the Interspac thing. We'll see how much money they actually can get together. It makes sense, like logically, emotionally, it makes sense, but practically, I don't think that's gonna happen. Interspac. Oh, of course, Ari Kessie. I think last year it was between him, Barella, and Depot were my three picks for midfielder on the season, and he was, carrying Milan on his back. He's really, really good, really, really good. Chiesa just missed 1v1. Oh, thank you for keeping me up to date with the Italy match. Who is going to replace Perisic next season? Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see in terms of Kostic. You guys know Kostic has always been my guy. And of course, Di Marco is going to be the guy taking over. What we've seen with Di Marco, there's still a few things that he needs to improve on. So we'll see by the end of the season if he improves on those. Otherwise, we still have to get someone to be the starter. I have faith in Di Marco to do that, but he still hasn't shown a few of those the physical one, there's not much you can do about, but the defensive deficiencies that I see in Di Marco still needs to improve on that. Agume is starting almost every game at Brest. Yeah, I saw that. But hearing is not doing too well. He's starting every game, which is what he needs. But I'm hearing is not particularly too impressive. So we'll see. Watching Brest against Nice, Agume looks crap as usual. Looks not interested in defending. Yeah, that's the problem I've always had with Agume, man. I always say this guy technically, like on the ball, he's already a really good player, but off the ball, I don't know why is this guy. He's just so uninterested in running back or tracking runs or tackling. Like he just seems so uninterested. As soon as the other team has the ball, he's just like he seems like he's bored. So he needs to improve that. He wants to play higher level. And he was, when we signed this guy, there was Chouameni we were linked with, the Monaco guy who's now becoming France regular, big player for Monaco. This guy is the same class or the same generation as Agume. And yeah, this is what happens when you take a gamble on these young players. Agume was supposed to be I think he was the captain of that team as well for France under 17s or under 18s and or under 21s, as Indrahari says. But this is what happens. You can't predict the trajectory of a player. With Agume, he hasn't quite made that step up. We saw Spezia last year; didn't hardly got any minutes with Spezia. This year's getting minutes, but it seems like he's not looking too impressive once again. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's lazy. I just don't know if he's. Yeah, it's more. I would say like just the mentality. He doesn't seem to have that, mentality that you need to be at the top level. Maybe that's it doesn't mean he's a bad player or a lazy player. It just doesn't seem to have that mentality, and that's what sets good players apart from the elite. elite players. Yeah, actually, there's a quick article here on Sempre Inter talking about the Nahita Hernandez deal, where it says Inter could resume pursuit of Nahita Hernandez in January. The Rosso Blue still value Hernandez around 30 million, which is way too much. In the summer, Cagliari asked for a 5 million paid loan with purchase obligation. This is what, it was way too much for Inter. But we'll see. We'll see. As I said, they could offer Martin Satriano on loan to, soften the deal. But in general, Inter's relationship with Cagliari now after this is not great. We did all these favors for them and they do nothing for us. But yeah, I think Hernandez is going to be one that we're going to hear about a lot in January once again. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye out. So for me, that is the position. I think if we're going to make an improvement, if you're able to bring in a midfielder that can, take over from Barella and Hakan, or someone, that can actually make an impact instead of Sensi, then you can bring someone in like that. A striker, as you said, Belotti, Jovic, one of these guys. Centre backs, yes, but I don't really see someone coming in making an impact in January at the back. So primarily midfielders and strikers, I think, is going to be the focus for our January. Future Hendrik says he's done hyping any of our Primavera players. Yeah, welcome to the club, bro. I'm always very careful with the Primavera guys. I always say, guys, chill out. Even the guys now hyping Esposito of what he's doing in the Swiss league. Yes, it's nice that what he's doing, but it's in the Swiss league, guys. Let's calm down. Let's see what he can do. Because last year he was barely getting minutes when he was at Spal or Venezia. So, let's see. You have to give these guys time. Aguma was always late to anticipate the game when defending, which is fatal. Zono plus always jogging doesn't help either. Yeah, I think with him it's also the body language. He has this kind of languid kind of running style where it looks kind of lazy, but I don't think he's lazy. But he's just, he's not switched on. He doesn't quickly go to where he needs to cover the space. And those are the things that, you learn slowly. Or you don't learn, I guess, if you're not up for it. You think if need be, Barella could play on the left? Yeah, definitely. We've seen Barella on that left-hand side this season. That Atalanta match when he created that, the header for Vecino, cutting into the field and getting those crosses. I still think Barella's proper role is on the right centre mid, but he can definitely do a role on the left centre mid side as well. Like he's not, that tied down to that position. Barella, he can play the defensive mid. He can go everywhere, Barella. I think he could play right wing back if we really needed to. Like this guy can play anywhere. So yeah, definitely, it could be. But I think Nandes and Barella would be a little bit too similar. They're two both like, dogs. The little two bulldogs going up and down. And I think the other midfielder has to offer something a little bit more different. Any of our young players made in the first team for a long time? Yeah, DiMarco now, guys. We can stop saying that. DiMarco's made it now. But yeah, in general, we always talk about, the Primavera has been not being good in bringing us players to the first team. It's just disappointing. As fans, we love to see that. But DiMarco is finally one that's making the break into that team now and now made the international team as well. He sees a midfield of Nandes, Brozovic, Barella being quite good, actually. One thing for sure, they're going to be running. Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be a bit too much of a running midfield, very short as well. Or rather, I've always said, I think that left centre mid now, it had to be DePaul. DePaul was the guy. And if it's not DePaul, I want someone that's a ball-carrying, dribbling midfielder. I think that's the missing link of this Inter team. And that's what Hakan hasn't added. That's what Luis Alberto was in the Lazio team. But we'll see, guys. 1 hour chatting with you guys, 1 hour 8. Thank you very much for coming through and chatting with me. It's been enjoyable talking about the January window. We got the Milan haters coming into the house as well. This guy's obsessed with Hakan as usual. What can I say? They sold him, but apparently they didn't like him. But they always keep talking about Hakan. Where does he rank in all-time switch passing? Nah, he's not that great in terms of all time, but in this Inter team, he's probably the best though. But yeah, guys, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And obviously, we'll be doing a Lazio preview soon, and Oh yeah, keep a lookout for the Onana video I'm going to be doing with an Ajax fan. That one should be good to help us understand about Onana a little bit more. But yeah, guys, thank you for coming through. Nice long stream. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe.